So, hello and welcome back. When was the last time we were here? Last Monday, Tuesday, something like that. Monday. It was Monday. And since then, we've had some very interesting developments. Lots of interesting developments. So we had to go live and talk about it. Are we talking about Tszyu v. Thurman? That was a surprise. No one predicted that. I didn't see anyone predicting that. We're talking about Munguia. Munguia's destruction. Would it be fair to call it a destruction? Munguia's destruction of John Ryder. Rolly Romero versus Isaac Pitbull Cruz. I, for one, think that's a mistake on Rolly's part. I don't know who the hell came up with that one. And, of course, Rolly leaving his trainer, Bullet. You know what I mean? I don't know who's making the decisions for Rolly, but I don't like that fight for Rolly. I think that's a miscalculation. And, of course, there's more. Of course, there's more. Let's go. So where do we begin? Where are we going to kick off? Where are we going to start with this one? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that share button. Okay, let's get into this. Let's get a poll on the brew. What's going on here? Okay. So it's the Bruce Gas Boxing and Jazz up in the building. Hey, Raphael, what's going down? Lots is going down. Bye-bye, Shakur. Don't let the door hit you in the eyes. Don't let it hit you in the eyes. OMG. Okay, well, it's funny you should say that because that is going to be the first poll. Fury pulls out or loses. OMG. That's from the Wizard Sleeves. Okay, so let's get into this article. It's breaking news. Maybe I should have done a video on it. Maybe I should have. What's this here? What is this here? Okay, so Shakur Stevenson has thrown in the towel on his short 7-year professional boxing career, announcing his retirement on Twitter after capturing 3 division world titles. Okay, so although Shakur, 21-0, 10 KOs, didn't give a reason for his early exit from the sport of boxing, it's believed that the reason for him walking away is the WBO ordering former 2-division world champion Emmanuel Navarrete to battle the entertaining fighter Denis Berinchik for the vacant 135-pound title, which champion Devin Haney had recently vacated. Okay. So it's no secret that Stevenson had his eyes on fitting the smaller, slower Navarrete, on fighting the smaller, slower Navarrete after being ignored by Vasily Lomachenko and having Frank Martin walk away. I'm walking away without fighting him. Some boxing fans feel Shakur is frustrated because he's been unable. Sorry, I was distracted there. He's been unable to get the well-known lightweights to fight him. Shakur is likely being avoided because he's got a reputation for being, I don't know about runner. I mean, come on now. These people really like to stick the boot in. Let me correct that for them. He's got a reputation for being elusive. He's almost impossible to hit because he's always retreating. Listen. Okay, listen. Okay, so listen, you set traps. Of course, there's positive fighting. Some people can say there's negative fighting, but regardless, you set traps. And yes, if someone's dancing, someone's slipping away, but running, I mean, is he really a runner as such? I don't think so. I think that's a harsh criticism. A mover, certainly. A runner as such, I don't know about that. Generally speaking, I would say certainly not. Elusive, yes, but if he's hitting his opponent, then obviously he's in range. So it's his opponent's duty to catch him while he's in range. The same way he catches them while he's in range. You know what I mean? So a runner, and that's very rude actually. Not many will miss his feather fists. OMG. Good riddance, at least for a minute. Oh Lord. Who wants to watch Elusive? Okay. Well, there you see. That's a fair statement. Is elusiveness attractive to you? Well, I would say Sugar Ray Leonard was often elusive, but he was also attacking and aggressive as well. It's a balance, isn't it? You're looking for a balance. You want to retire with most of your faculties intact, with as much of your faculties intact as is possible. On the one hand, that's the elusiveness. But on the other hand, you want to be exciting. If you're exciting, you'll most likely, if you're elusive and exciting, you will most likely be rewarded because you're exciting as well as elusive. So he gets to keep more brain cells and he gets to make more bread. But like I say, it's a balance, isn't it? It's a balance. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the tweet. I'm officially retiring from the sport of boxing. I'll be in the gym forever perfecting my craft and helping the next generation become great and chase their dreams. But I ain't effing with this weak boxing game. I think the weak boxing game is clearly the announcement that Emmanuel Navarrete is to battle Denis Brinchek, the WBO. The WBO strap. Okay, so in 2020, U.S. Olympian Stevenson's last fight against Edwin De Los Santos in November, he was cheating all around the ring the entire fight, flinching and looking. This is a comedy piece. I don't recall him flinching and I don't recall him looking afraid, but he did have an injury. I think, what is it, to the right? So he threw the left, or he had an injury to the left, so he just threw the right. Shakur's upset. He's upset at probably numerous things. He's probably upset that he lost out on the Devin fight. He's upset that Gervonta Tank Davis fight him. I don't think Gervonta Tank Davis was looking to fight him. So looks like he's not getting the Tank Davis fight. And he could say to himself, listen, all the money fights, they're gone. They're gone. And perhaps it's not too wide of the mark that right about now he's feeling a little bit sorry for himself, a little bit dejected. think it's possible that's what's going on here. Do I think he has retired? I do not. I don't think so. I just think he's a little bit disheartened, dejected. What becomes of the broken-hearted? He'll just pick himself up out of the self-pity. You know, when he stopped throwing a self-pity party for himself, I realize that you just have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back on the horse. Get back on the horse that you rode in on. So is Shakur really retiring? 100% or 0% of respondents said not sure. 0% of respondents said yes. And 100% of respondents said no. We don't believe you. You need more people. We don't believe you. I just can't take him, to be honest. His power retired years ago. People are not overwhelmed with Shakur Stevens' style. Nobody cares. The Canelo payday finished John Ryder. Okay, so let's get into this. Saw Canelo in there, John Ryder in there with Canelo. And we saw how Canelo it was a good fight. It was a very entertaining fight. It was a highly entertaining fight after a while. But initially, it looked like Canelo had blown out John Ryder. I think he busted his nose, broke his nose in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. And that kind of spoiled the fight. It's like, oh no, it's ruined. And second round, I think he got beasted. Third round still wasn't good. I think after the fourth or fifth round, after maybe the fifth round, when John Ryder began to find some spaces, to find some opportunities. And that's when John Ryder got to work. He was a tough operator. Even Canelo Alvarez after the fight, he had to say, you know, you tough guy. But you know, one had to wonder, one had to speculate, one had to say, oh, hold on a second. That was a war. And he was on the worst side of it. Talking about John Ryder. And so when it came to the Munguia fight, we know Munguia, you know, is a pressure guy. And he loves to put them fists on you. Loves to put them fists of fury on you. Not talking about Tyson Fury either. That would be ridiculous. Come on now. So, going up against Munguia, pre-fight, the question was asked. How much has John Ryder lost? How much did John Ryder leave in the ring in the Canelo fight? And I was asked somewhere, I can't remember where, and I responded, I do believe John Ryder has left some of himself. John Ryder left some of himself in that ring against Canelo. And so it came to pass. When he was in there with Munguia, Munguia just took it to him, man. He took it to him and put it on him, put it on his head. Even though I gave Ryder a couple rounds, something like that. But needless to say, a couple rounds later, and Munguia dropped John Ryder a couple times in a round. I think the second knockdown in that round, the last round, was it the 7th round? The second knockdown, when he got up on wobbly legs, his corner had seen enough. Enough is enough. And waved the towel. And I think it was the right thing, because the referee was going to let him carry on. And all that would have happened is we would have incurred unnecessary damage. And so, yeah, shout out to the corner. What is it, Tony Sims? I think it's Tony Sims. Also, the head coach for Conor Ben. So, shout out to Tony Sims for doing the sensible thing, throwing in the towel. The question has to be asked: is it time for John Ryder to retire? Who's going to want to fight Munguia? Because Canelo's fighting. Canelo's on the contract with the PBC. What next for Munguia? Munguia's over there with Oscar and Bernard, Golden Boy, and Canelo is over there in the PBC contract. 2-3 fight contract. He's already had one fight, and that was with Jamel. So that leaves 2 fights left on the contract. And unfortunately, word around the campfire is that his next fight is going to be against Jamal, Big Charlo. Now, why the hell would you want to fight Big Charlo when Big Charlo has been inactive for how long? You're not going to be getting anything near the best of him. It really makes you question and wonder why. It's just not good. It's the PBC way. What is it? Is it almost as if Al promised, I'm going to take care of you guys. I'm going to take care of you guys. And so he's making a fight that the public have no appetite for. PBC do it again. They make a fight. They've got big Canelo. Paid him big money. And they got him fight with the guy who really is not in his game right now. And after the Jamal Charlo fight, then word around the campfire is that it's going to be Canelo v. Crawford. I absolutely want to see that fight. It's going to be a weight discrepancy. That's very unfortunate. Looks most likely it's going to take place at 168. Super middleweight. No room at the inn for Munguia right now. Couple that with the fact that David Benavidez come out on social media and say, well, listen, people say this about me, people say that about me, but I ain't no liar. And Jamie Munguia, we were in talks with him and his people for a good while. David Benavidez says that eventually, after weeks, months, trying to negotiate the fight, the Munguia people said no. Obviously, I don't know how true that is, but yeah. Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to have a final eliminator for Canelo featuring David Benavidez? David Benavidez said he'll fight him. Featuring David Benavidez and Jamie Munguia. in the final eliminator. It was one hell of a performance from Jamie Munguia. And I've seen him fight before. I know he's tough, but I gotta tell you what. He impressed the hell out of me. He impressed the hell out of me. Tony Sims looks and sounds like a gangster. Yeah, he's got that little flick. He's got that little flick of the head. He's got the brill cream bounce. Is it true that Duck Nellos, oh damn, is fighting Terence Crawford? Well, that's the word. That's the word around the campfire. That's what they're saying. Jamal Charlo next, and some big people in the game. Some big people in the game are saying that, whilst there's been no official press release, that's word around the campfire. Jamal Charlo first, and then Terence Bud Crawford. Let's have a look what people are saying. Nobody cares about Canelo versus Jamal. I'm inclined to agree. Who the hell cares about, well, why the hell is that fight even being made? Certainly not for the entertainment of the fans. Certainly not. When the hell was the last time Jamal Charlo had been out? Since 2022? His last fight was one Macias Montel. And that was a 12-round unanimous decision. Montel, bloody hell. Wasn't he supposed to get that guy gone up out of there? Or at least dominate him, but it was just a so-so performance. And then he had the run out with Jose Benavidez Jr. And that was a 10-round unanimous decision. Highly underwhelming. Okay, where are we? I think John Ryder has left a part of himself. He's left a part of himself in the ring after the Canelo fight. 27 years, 35 years of age. I think Munguia, 27. How is that? That's an 8-year discrepancy. What else has John Ryder got to be sticking around for? He got his title shot. He came up shout. That's not a heightest joke. Because he did reach the heights. Fought the likes of Callum Smith. Fought the likes of Danny Jacobs. Fought the likes of Canelo. And Just Dance. He may have had his last dance. He may have had his last dance, and if it transpires to be the case, I'll be happy for the fella. I'll be happy for the fella because he did show that warrior spirit, that warrior heart, and he fought within the warrior code. So he just, quite simply, you got to hand it to him. You got to hand it to him, right? I think poll is up and the question was asked. Is it time for John Ryder to hang him up? 33, one third of the vote said no, keep on going. But 2/3 of the vote said yes, it's time for John Ryder to hang him up. And with that, let me bring in the Iron Kong. The Iron Kong. How do you do?
Hello, Raphael.
How you doing, Kong? How you doing over there in St. Kitts?
Today we had apparently the now largest ship in the world, cruise ship in the world, dock here.
Wow.
A ship called the Icon of the Seas. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting it to be that damn big for real. I was like, that's a big fucking ship.
Wow. Wow.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, in
Them
Caribbean
things freak me
Islands,
out. Them things freak me out. They're massive ships.
it's really weird. 10,000 people on a ship, and that's almost 10% of my country.
I don't. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
It's really wild, Rafi. Like when you see people just streaming off the ship, and it's just like I was
What's it called?
the Icon of the Seas.
Okay. Pull that up.
It was just around here because we do tourism, we depend on cruise tourism, so ships come in all the time.
Yeah.
We had a previous ship which was what's it called, the Queen Mary, whatever it was. It was at that time the largest ship back then.
Yeah.
But goddamn, this one is.
Ross.
I was really shocked.
Ross.
This is a crazy ship.
Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Where is it? Let me pull it up. Let me put it up for the people then. Where is it?
It was. I'm not like, because when I drop my kids off, the school is almost next to the seaport. It's a coastal school, right?
Yeah.
So I drive down. I usually drive on the coast, go back to my office. And I was really taken aback by the size of this damn thing.
Let me put it up properly. This is the one.
So that's what happened in St. Kitts. It's just, I mean, Rafi, you
it's too big. Makes you feel uncomfortable.
And the thing is, you already know there's already someone saying, I could be bigger than that.
Damn.
I mean, you can't do a 1 week cruise on that. You will never see all you want to see on that ship.
No, it's too big,
a city.
man.
It's a floating city.
Damn. It's just. I remember when I was a kid. I don't know where the hell we were, but we must have been at some dock somewhere, and I saw what looked to be this monstrosity of a structure. It was a ship. It was so big. It was like, yo, that's scary, man. And I don't know, maybe in the back of my mind, somewhere in the back of my mind, everybody knows the story of the Titanic, and you just think, yeah, I don't know about this. Have you got enough lifeboats? You know, kind of slightly disturbing. Could maybe rematch Saunders if he comes back. Saunders, what, you gonna stick around for Saunders? Waiting on a wish and a prayer? I don't know about that. What's this? Canelo Crapola. Dude, don't duck. What's going on? It's not Canelo's fault. Dudes like Benavides line up single file to fight him for a payday. Payday. He want payday. He want payday. I know that. Okay. I don't know. There is Iron Kong. Are you there?
I'm here, Rafi.
Yeah, man. Talk to me, brother. Talk to me.
Yeah. So we're talking about what, the Tszyu versus Thurman, or we just free flowing?
Well, I mean, we haven't even talked about Tszyu versus Thurman yet. So hell, open it up, open up that can of whoop ass.
What a ridiculous fight! You have Keith Thurman, a man who's lost almost all his hair. He looks like the man down at my local supermarket who's trying to get me to buy those orange juices that are about to expire in 2 months. I give them to you, half price, my friend. So now I'm good, bro. I don't need no expired orange juices. Okay, that's what he looks like. And you have Tszyu, a young man coming from Australia, to come to America to do a pay-per-view in America with Keith Thurman, who ain't fought in like 2 years. not by injury, just by choice, just didn't fight.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just really something strange with PBC, right? It just seemed like I was like, look, time is coming up. We gotta cobble something together right quick, and let's just get Keith Thurman inside there, because who else gonna do it? Tank might want too much money. And matter of fact, we don't even have nobody for Tank to fight. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna put Rolly Romero versus Isaac Cruz on this card, and then the winner gonna be like, oh, Tank, let's do the rematch and all this foolishness. You know what I mean? But what I like about the Rolly versus Isaac Cruz fight is that it left Ryan Garcia out in the cold. That was wonderful. I can't stand that little fruit. I can't stand him. You know what I'm saying? But the Keith Thurman fight for me makes no sense. I don't understand the fight. It's not a title fight. I mean, it's just really PBC-ish. It smacks of the PBC.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Go ahead.
Yeah. Big boys boxing up in the building. How do you do over there in New Zealand? It's an international show, folks.
I'm good here, man. Bit hot here, but not too bad.
Hot. Oh my gosh. We're wrapping up over here. Although, I mean, it hasn't been frosty for a week or so, but it is. Listen, man, I ain't complaining. This is Britain. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, and right about now it's cold. I have several large, heavy coats. Well, not heavy coats, but large coats capable of shielding me from the cold. So you know what? Listen, man, I catch the bus to work and I walk back home religiously. Whether sometimes I don't feel like walking, I just walk anyway. I just make sure every day I get my 10,000 steps. Work, you know, it's you know, the 9 to 5 thing. Where do you fit the gym in? I just come home, man, and I work out on the weekends. You know what I mean? Saturday and Sunday. But in the week, I just eat sensibly and I get my steps in. That's what I do. Put my coat on, put the hood up, and got my gloves, and I just march, and we're good.
Leg day is Monday to Friday, huh?
Say that again.
Leg day is Monday to Friday, huh?
There we go. 100. You know, just get the steps in, man. You ain't gotta be doing anything crazy in the gym. Just get your steps in and eat sensibly during the week, and you're good. You get a couple of sessions in the weekend, you're good. You know. But anyway, that's enough about me. Big Boys Boxing, talk to me.
Yeah, I was kind of messing with my phone, so I've missed the last couple of minutes so I'm not quite sure where you are with the conversation.
No problem. We're talking about Tszyu. Apparently, is facing Thurman.
Yeah, 155 in a non-title fight. What the hell is PBC doing, man? I am glad the WBO refused to sanction it because Keith Thurman hasn't been active and he's not in the rankings. So doesn't look like Al Heyman's got the push like he does with the WBC and WBA to insert a fighter of his to get a title shot. So well done, WBO, at the very least.
100.
But it's got to be a cash-out fight for Thurman, doesn't it? Young, hungry animal like Tszyu. I think he's going to wreck him in 6 or 7 rounds.
Yeah. So what's in it for Thurman?
There's got to be a cash-out. I mean, you know, they put it on pay-per-view and stacked the card as much as they could to try and make it pay-per-view worthy. But you know, Keith Thurman, if he's on pay-per-view, he thinks he's going to be making millions, but I think he's going to be in for a shock.
Oh dear.
Yeah. When the pay-per-view numbers come in, I don't think there'll be more than 300,000 or 400,000 tops. So they might make a small profit, but I don't think Keith Thurman will be pocketing 7 digits. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I'll watch it. But I won't be paying for it.
Yeah. Well, is it pay-per-view down under? I thought.
I'm not sure actually. I know because we've got Amazon Prime here as well. It's going to be Amazon Prime, but
I don't think it's
I'm
Amazon
not sure about the geo stats yet. But I'll have to look it up.
I don't think it's Amazon Prime down there though. I don't think it's pay-per-view down there. You have to check it out, but I think it's a different carrier for Australia. So I don't think it's pay-per-view down there.
Oh yeah, because Tszyu's promoter will probably be broadcasting it down here, so it'll be on Fox in Australia or Main Events. I think they use that Fight TV. So.
Right. So it may not be. I don't think it's pay-per-view. I don't think it's pay-per-view down there. So yeah, it looks like. I'm just gonna mute your mic while you're not talking, big boys. I'm just gonna mute your mic for you because there's some. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So yeah. Don't think it's pay-per-view down there. Iron Kong. Why? What's in it for Thurman?
I mean, I think Big Boy said this gotta be some sort of cash grab because there's nothing else really involved. I mean, you're not getting no belt, and why would he want the WBO belt? When Terrence Crawford had the belt, he said, "Nah, we call it the WB no at PBC." PBC never used to acknowledge the WBO belt when Terrence Crawford had the 147 belt. It's crazy. So like Big Boy said, I'm glad the WBO has refused to sanction it. Keith Thurman, I don't know what's in it. Has to be just money. I'm curious as to know what exactly is he being paid, because if you're hoping to make the rest on back end, I'm quite sure Keith Thurman is not going to. Did Big Boy say the pay-per-view is in Australia also?
No, it's not pay-per-view in Australia.
So he's not gonna get nothing from down that side. So he's just hoping that America buys 1 million pay-per-view buys for this fight.
Yeah. From a Tim Tszyu who, although one of the brightest stars in boxing, we know that, or I know that. I don't know that the American public, boxing public en masse know that.
How unfortunate.
No, yeah.
How unfortunate, Raphael.
It is unfortunate, but it's a process. He's gonna have to, do his business over there in America, get the recognition up, let them know who he is, let them see how good he is. As a matter of fact, is that not an argument? Is that not an argument that Keith Thurman, to the casual fan, is still a name? And so, as a matter of fact, rat-tat-tat-tat, this is good. This is good for Tszyu to get his name out there. Is that not an argument? Big Boys Boxing. Is that not an argument?
Yeah, it's definitely an argument for sure. I did have a think about it while I was muted there, and it probably will be pay-per-view down here because Tim Tszyu is actually a really big star in Australia, and most of his fights have been pay-per-view of late. So,
good point.
It wouldn't actually have been silly for Keith Thurman to go to Australia and fight Tim Tszyu on a different card because he would have made better money that way. But PBC don't ship out their names. But for a casual boxing fan, if they haven't been watching boxing for 10 years or more, they'll probably think, Keith Thurman, who's that? Because he hasn't been fighting. He's been having 2-year breaks between every bloody fight.
That's true.
And he was a name 10 years ago. He's a name for people who have been fans for more than 10 years. But these days it's more like, who's Keith Thurman? So
yeah.
Definitely to American boxing fans who have been watching for a while, him fighting Tim Tszyu will definitely increase Tim Tszyu's profile in America, and it seems to be that's where he wants to fight at the moment. So I guess it makes sense for Tim Tszyu, and he doesn't have to risk his title. So it's all gravy.
Yeah. So it might not be as crazy as it seems. It seems crazy to us. There are other fights we wanted to see him against Crawford, but it looks as if Crawford is going in a different direction because we have word that Canelo is fighting. As a matter of fact, we'll just say that both guys he's fighting. He's fighting Jamal Charlo and then Crawford. Jamal Charlo, sorry. Talk to me about your views on the Jamal Charlo fight and then the Crawford fight.
I don't have a problem with the Crawford fight. I think Terence Crawford should do what he wants to do. And if you get the Canelo fight, I'm very happy for him because Terence Crawford has been clamoring for big fights all his career. People have been ducking, people have been lying, people even made up a term now called wrong side of the street. We never heard that term before to not fight Terence Crawford. People like Keith Thurman, I need $10 million to fight Terence Crawford. No, I want no WBO belt. So I'm happy for Terence Crawford. If that fight's happening, I'm interested in seeing that fight. Yes. Jamal Charlo.
Yeah.
No, Rafi. He is a man who has looked awful.
Yeah.
In every fight I have seen him, what's the last fight I've seen Jamal look good in? Rafi, what was the last fight you have seen Jamal Charlo look really good in?
Let me see. It wasn't against Benavides.
Nope.
It wasn't against Montiel.
Nope. Wasn't against Matvey Karabov.
Hold on. How was the Sergey Derevchenko fight? I think I enjoyed that.
So we're gonna go back to Sergey. When was this? Like 2021?
That was September 2020.
2020.
2020.
So we haven't seen Jamal Charlo look good in 3 years.
That's right.
Jamal Charlo has gone missing from boxing for so long. You know, he is a man who had every opportunity to go to the zone and fight Canelo to unify. Didn't fight Andrade. No. You know what I mean? All this stuff. Got slapped by Caleb Plant. No. No one fight Caleb Plant neither. But no, Canelo Alvarez wants to fight this man who is also drunk and a possible narcotic user.
Uh-oh.
I think Canelo Alvarez is enabling a man with obvious frailties to get a lot of money to go out there and blow it on his habits. I think Jamal Charlo should be working in the Amazon warehouse, not fighting on the Amazon app.
Yo,
that's my opinion.
That Amazon warehouse, that's tough camping, I hear. That's tough camping, I hear.
Yeah, I saw Amazon warehouse fight on Twitter, and I was quite appalled. That
was a good fight.
But Rafi, meanwhile they're fighting, I still waiting on my Ninja blender.
Oh damn!
Get to work.
Yeah.
That's it for me, Rafi.
Yeah. Big boys boxing. Jamal Charlo, Canelo's fighting Jamal Charlo, and then Crawford.
Yeah, I don't like the Jamal fight. I don't know why PBC are doing that. They've only got a limited amount of fights for Canelo to make them money. Yeah. And I don't think Jamal is a good money maker for them. I think a David Morrell or a David Benavides fight would do much better numbers and wouldn't be poo-pooed on by the fans.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. The image of the PBC is going to be damaged badly if Jamal fights anything like his brother did. So, you know, I can't understand the business side of it from PBC. Throwing the the Canelo paydays away, pretty much.
Yeah.
Of course, they'll still make a little money because Canelo always sells, even if he's fighting himself and fighting his shadow, he'll still make some money for them. But
yeah,
I thought the plan was supposed to be Jaime Munguia and then David Benavidez, and then maybe talk about the Crawford fight. But seems all that's out the window now. Yeah.
but it's two fights.
I really don't understand it.
Yeah, but it's 2 fights, isn't it? 2 fights left.
I think so.
Yes, two. Well, that's my understanding. It's a 3-fight deal, so there's 2 fights left. So
does that mean Benavidez waiting in single file is going to miss out?
Yeah.
All that waiting and fighting nobody. I mean, there's all those guys on the same side of the street as him.
Yeah.
That PBC is so big on, and he hasn't fought them. He waited 5 damn years to fight Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
It's madness. So it don't look like Benavidez getting it. It don't look like Munguia is getting it. It's Jamal and then Crawford. Talk to me about Canelo Crawford.
I like that fight. I mean, I did initially after what's his name? After Crawford beat
Spence,
and they started talking about it. Canelo was kind of, he's too small, and I don't know if I should fight him because if I beat him, everyone will say he's just a blown up welterweight, and if how it goes. But so many fans are talking about it, and Canelo seems to be that guy. If the fans want to see it, he'll give that fight eventually. So I really like the fight. I think it'll be a lot more competitive than people think. I wouldn't pick a winner at this point. I'd like to see Crawford at least have a fight at 154 on the intermediate or something, but it's a real good fight. I'd look forward to seeing pound for pound fighters take on pound for pound fighters any day of the week.
Yeah. Yes. How do I feel about it? Well, we've talked about it before here on the RDCR, and we like that fight. I like that fight. Initially, I was skeptical with the weight difference, but I like the fight. Canelo's not at his peak. He's a bigger man, but he's not at his prime anymore. I think his best days are behind him. Still very good. Still a formidable opponent, but I do believe his best days are behind him. And so, even though he's the bigger man, a far bigger man, I think that it's gonna be can Crawford's skill, can their skill differential, is there a sufficient skill differential between Canelo and Crawford that could enable Crawford to overcome the weight difference? Because you know what we say over here in the UK, a good big un beats a good little un. Iron Kong.
I agree with that. At this point, I will pick Canelo. Like Big Boy said, I would like to see what Crawford will look like at a heavier weight. I know he keeps himself in shape a lot, but he's obviously not going to come in at the full 168. He's going to come in just below 168, just on the minimum of the limit that you have to be, and he's going to come in at that. Canelo is not exactly a huge 168 guy, but he's nicely farmed himself into the weight already for multiple fights now. I'm actually anxious to see that fight. At this point, I favor Canelo, but we'll see I want to see how Terence Crawford looks physically, because if he comes in like a slightly of a fat man, we might have a problem. But I'm looking forward to that fight. I need Canelo to beat up Jamal Charlo like quickly and get him out the way, let him go home and snort whatever he wants to snort, drink all the brown liquor he wants,
Yeah.
and come on Instagram and tell the world how much of an idiot he is. So, and then he can go back to fighting the Montiels of the world and all of that.
Dime. And I'm just scrolling through. I'm looking for something very specific. But while I'm looking for that, we haven't spoken about Munguia versus John Ryder, Big Boys Boxing.
Yeah, Jaime lost me some money. He wasn't supposed to knock out Ryder, but by crikey, he did a job on him, didn't he?
Bloody well did. He bloody well did.
Right. He seems to have acclimatized to the weight pretty well now. He could probably thicken himself up a bit in the top half, maybe gather a bit more power, but I don't know if he needs it. John Ryder's a real hard son of a bitch, and he absolutely destroyed him. So he could be a real force at 168. Maybe the Canelo, because when they were initially talking about Canelo and Munguia, I thought, come on, man, that's not really competitive. But after watching that, it's like, oh, yeah, he knocked out the dude that Canelo couldn't stop. So
right.
Maybe we got a real fight on our hands now. Maybe Munguia is the next Mexican big thing.
Yeah, he might be the goods for real. I mean,
gentlemen, some breaking news. Ryan Garcia has called out Nair Inoue for a fight at 140 pounds in Japan. I sent the video to your Twitter account, Rafi. So if you want to check it out. This guy is an idiot.
Imbecile.
What an idiot. I can't stand this guy.
He's an imbecile.
But anyway, that was just one of the breaking news. Go ahead. Sorry.
We're talking about Jamie Munguia versus John Ryder, and Jamie Munguia surprised me. We've all seen him fight before, but I don't think But we're up against John Ryder. John Ryder is a known entity. We know what to expect from John Ryder. He's one of the fighters that I have a lot of respect for, because he's almost like a throwback fighter. There's no prima donna in him whatsoever. He just get me good fights, line him up, I'll fight him. He's a throwback fighter, and it's so refreshing in this day and age of prima donnas. It's so refreshing to have a throwback fighter of his ilk who just says, listen, just get me good fights. Get me the best fights you can get. Get me the best guys you can get. Get me the top 10 guys consistently, time and time again. Callum Smith, Daniel Jacobs, Jamie Munguia. I mean, there's loads of them that I'm missing. What was it? Billy Joe Saunders back in the day. What a throwback fighter, and what a privilege, what a pleasure, what a relief to have someone like of that mentality around. What a relief, what a stark contrast in comparison with the proliferation of prima donnas in boxing. Who could ever have believed it, that boxing, of all sports, the boxing would have such a proliferation of prima donnas? Ein Kong.
Boxing and prima donnas?
Yeah.
I
peaches
mean,
go together like peaches and cream. That's what you're gonna tell me.
Rafi, I don't know what to say. I think boxing has always had some level of prima donna.
Oh, damn.
I mean, even one of my favorite heavyweights, Mr. Riddick, was a prima donna when he dumped that belt into the trash can. You know, them was diva behaviors. You know what I'm saying? Boxing has always had these sorts of people. The issue is a lot of the times they still ended up backing up their chat.
Yeah.
You know, with the prima donna stuff. A lot of the times. Riddick and Lennox never fought, but Riddick fought Holyfield and a couple other good people.
Yeah.
You know, Lennox went on to have his career. But no, it's just mostly talk. It's just mostly people banging them out. And nobody interested in all that. It's just posturing. It's just all this nonsense. You know, you brought up Jaime Munguia. I'm glad he fought John Ryder. I'm glad he's with Freddie Roach. He looks really good. You asked the question earlier, Raf, and I didn't get the answer if Ryder should retire.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where he goes at 168 because there's no title run for him. And the UK 168 scene really is not welcoming for him because who's he gonna fight? They already robbed him against Callum Smith. He's not gonna get a yard fight. Is he gonna go? He's not gonna get Boatsi or Aziz or none of these people. Got it with boxing. We already know Ben Shalom is not going to do any business with him. You know, if he wants to go back and go back on the domestic scene, but does he want to go back on the domestic scene to be a guy who is just going to be there to get beat, like a stepping stone guy? Because that was his last big paycheck. He had a big paycheck against Canelo, and this was his last one, in my opinion. There are no more big paychecks at 168. So what's the point?
Yarding them boys at 175, so he could go up. He could go up to 175 and fight Yarding them boys because he's at 168 now. So to fight Yard, Boatsi, that's going up to light heavy.
You're right. So it's even worse at 168 then.
Yeah.
For the domestic scene because there's absolutely no one to fight.
Right. Yeah. But he's 35. He's 35. What how much longer do you want to see him at a crew wear and tear? For what? At some point, for what? He's already made his money. He's made the most money he's gonna make. He can make a few more M's, but but what about the damage you're incurring? There comes a point. There's a tipping point. There's a tipping point where the negatives outweighs the positives. And the question is the poll up or did I finish the poll? I think the poll, the poll's done. We did the poll. Where was the result? 33% said no, it's not time to retire. And 66% said yay, retire. Big Boys Boxing, what say you?
Well, like you're saying, I think it's a bit too far for him to go up to 175. There ain't really much at 168 unless he's a stepping stone. I guess he could fight a Morel or a Benavidez or something like that, but there's not a hell of a lot of money in it for those fights. I don't know if he could get down to 160, but there's not a lot of money down there either. There's possibly opportunities for a title down there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how hard it'd be for him to make 160, being 35 and fighting most of his career at 168. So yeah, I think it's probably time he can hang him up. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a pundit or something because he's such a straightforward, humble, honest guy that doesn't mess around. So I think he'd make a good pundit, be able to hang around the sport still and satisfy his urges possibly with not having to get in the ring.
Yeah.
But like you say, he's definitely made a reputation for himself as a throwback fighter. He'll fight anybody, anywhere.
Yeah.
And kudos to him for that. We need more guys like him in boxing to up the entertainment for fans rather than all this media hype and diva bullshit.
Yeah, 100%. 100% on that. What are we saying here? John ready to retire. Cash. John. Which John? John. Who, John Ryder? Oh, this John. John Ryder ready to retire? I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt it very much. I think he'll be the mindset. Nah, keep on carrying on. Keep on carrying on. And I think that at some point, it might take someone to save him from himself, because I think he was diminished in there. I think he was diminished in there, big boys boxing.
Yeah, his reaction time seems to have slowed for sure. There was a lot of punches he just didn't see coming. So that's definitely a sign of aging once your reflexes and your speed seem to disappear to a degree. But yeah, I don't know. I thought John Ryder had talked about if he didn't win this fight against Munguia, it'll probably be his last fight. So,
I
but
hope so.
in saying that, once he's had the fight and he's out of the ring, you know what those kind of fighters are like. You know, they get that itch again, and he'll probably want to get back in there and do some damage to someone else.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Time will tell, I guess.
Well, it's funny because on Sunday, I met up with a buddy of mine for a coffee downtown. Sit in the window. Watch the people go by and catch up. And an old well, I can't really say friend, but gym member, gym buddy, boxing gym buddy of mine walked past, and he walked in, and I said, "Yo, Pete," and said, "Yeah," came over, little fist bump and whatnot. And it's interesting because he was a local boxing star. He was a local boxing star, tipped for big things, his good level reached a high domestic level. And then, he's in the newspapers and whatnot. And then, there's one loss, then a win, then another loss, then a win, then two losses. And then, next thing you know, a few years later, your career's over. And whereas other people who you went to school with, they've had little careers. Some become mechanics, and another guy becomes an electrician, another guy becomes a plumber, another guy becomes a builder, another guy becomes a painter and decorator. A couple guys, work on the railway, and they all seem like normal jobs. A couple of guys go clerical. They all seem like normal jobs, but 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, when your career's over, a lot of them guys who just seem to have simple jobs, now they're managers. Now they're managers. A couple of them are company owners. Now them guys who never made it into the newspapers, pretty unremarkable. Now those guys are driving big cars. But they never made it in the newspapers. They were pretty remarkable. Nobody really knows their name, but they got nice houses. And you, the one-time boxing star, you don't really got much of anything to show for anything other than the scars, the Iron Kong.
Sorry, Rafi, I had stepped away. My bad. I didn't hear anything but the last piece you were saying.
No, it's okay. I'm going to come back to you. Big boys boxing.
Yeah, it's a common theme, isn't it? A lot of boxers, do have a somewhat successful career and then end up having nothing to show for it. But the lifestyle that a lot of them live, you get a bit of fame and you get on TV and it's all about the image, and so you got to have the cars and the bling and the woman, and then you start with the drugs and the alcohol, and oh my God, then they finish and they've got nothing to show for it. And it reminds me of a New Zealand boxer, old Jimmy Thunder. He had a career similar like that. He got ripped off by boxing. He was just hella entertaining, but when he finished, he ended up homeless on the streets of Las Vegas.
Damn.
You know, ended up some dude trying to mug him one day, and he beat the living snot out of him and ended up in prison.
Oh,
So,
shizzle.
you know, it's really sad when we see that. So I really enjoy seeing the kind of the humble fighters that you don't see driving around the flash cars with 100-man entourage. Most of these guys invest their money wisely because they're well aware and got the brains to know that boxing's not a long career. When it's finished, if you've done nothing else in your life, you need something to fall back on, or you got to be careful with your money, one or the other.
Yeah.
Don't let the lifestyle get to you.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it often does. John Ryder, however, seems a little bit more on the sensible side. Well, a lot more sensible. So that is just, some of the pitfalls of boxing. Who's this guy that Fundora is fighting? I can't remember his name. Is this
Sergey Bohachuk?
Yeah. We just call him Sergey. So Fundora, coming off a loss, is now fighting Sergey for which belt is it again? Which belt
WBA?
is it? W.
Maybe.
I'm just scrolling down now. Vacant. Romero's fighting for that one. Yeah, so anyway, I can't find the details, but Fundora versus this Sergey cat, coming off a loss. Isn't that so? What the hell is that all that about? Coming off a loss and you're fighting for a world championship? How the hell does that work?
Dumb move, man. Coming out that terrible knockout against Brian Mendoza, that was his knockout loss. Yeah. He got absolutely slept. He hasn't been in the ring since then, and he's taking on a hungry young contender in Sergey Bohachuk. That's crazy, but I guess being a PBC fighter and not having many shows to get onto, you got to take what chances you can get. So I hope he's ready because this is a serious fight for him.
Yeah.
And if he gets seriously knocked out like that again, that could be the end of him. Who knows? But I'll watch it for sure.
Yeah. I'll watch. Matter of fact, let's just bring up the details. There he is. Sebastian Fundora, coming off a loss to Brian Mendoza in the 7th round, and that was a hell of a knockout. Referee was counting. Mendoza just looked at him and said, "What are you doing, man? What do you do? Why are you even counting, man? Why are you even counting? Stop counting, man. That's it. It's over. Even I know it's over. What are you doing, man?" And he's fighting Serhil Bohachuk, who tends to, apart from one loss, he tends to knock out everybody that he fights. 100% KO record, other than the time when he got KO'd himself, and that was a good few years ago. That was a TKO 8th round against Brandon Adams, March 2021. So now it's Fundora versus Bohachuk, the Iron Kong.
I have to be honest. I don't really enjoy a lot of Fundora's fights. So I really don't have a lot to say. I don't really watch Fundora. I saw his sister fight the other night.
Yeah.
And she looks like him, and I don't like that. So I don't support the Fundoras.
I see that too. And I don't like that either. You know, it's like it's kind of disturbing. It's disturbing. The Fandora, to me, it's a mockery. It's an absolute mockery. I know people talk about mockery, but to be coming off a KO loss and then to be fighting for the world super welterweight, WBC super welterweight vacant title. It is just, to me, that's just a mockery. Absolute mockery. But there you go. There you go. That's boxing. And the last thing that I think we can squeeze in is the news that Rolly Romero is fighting Pitbull Cruz, and I think it's a mistake. I think it's a banana skin waiting to happen. I think that whoever made this fight, whoever told Rolly to take this fight, I think it's a miscalculation. Big boys boxing. Might be away from the mic. So the Iron Kong. I think this Rolly Romero versus Pitbull Cruz, I think there might be a miscalculation on the Rolly Romero side. That's just my view, mind you.
Rolly was used as a pawn to embarrass Ryan Garcia to stop a Devin Haney fight. And now he's gonna fight this dude for no money and lose. Rolly Romero is absolutely terrible. And Isaac Cruz or whatever is known. Both of them are only known for losing to Gervonta Davis, or as people say he should be called now, Abdul Wahid.
Yes.
Right? But that's what they're known for. I don't understand this fight. Rolly Romero should be forced to fight the old man Barroso. And so the old man, but he's trying to age out the old man. The problem is the old man is already aged out. You know what I'm saying? He's about 50 years old. So, he's not going to get, he'll always be that.
Yeah.
But I don't see, but it's Al Heyman and them like, hey, no, we need you to fight Isaac Cruz on this card so we can justify a tank rematch. And that's just how it's going to go. I think he's going to lose the fight. I don't think Rolly Romero is very good. I don't think he's good at all. I think he's awful.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. That's just my opinion on it. As you said, they miscalculated with this one.
Yeah.
But that's just what it is.
Yeah. It's crazy, yo. Shizzle is crazy, yo. Let me get a few of these comments as we close this thing down. Thought Ryan was poor. The Canelo money ended him. Ryder. Well, I don't know. I don't think the money ended him. I think it's the wear and tear. I don't think Ryder. It's not Ryder's first payday. He's touched M's before. So I don't think the money got to his head all of a sudden. It's wear and tear. It was a tough fight. He took some damage in that fight. How many M's did Ryder receive? I really don't know. At least 4, I would think. Yeah. I think at least four. And Kid Galahad. Kid Galahad says he's got 16 houses. And and I'm sure that in the whole of Kid Galahad's career, he'd have been lucky to make four M's. So he's got 16 houses rented out. Well, I would imagine he lives in one of them, so he's got 15 houses rented out. I don't know, maybe the 16th house he rents to himself. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know how that works tax-wise. So yeah, you can do a lot. You can do a lot with with a few M's. You can do a lot. 1.8 after expenses. Jeez Louise. Rolly will deal with the dog. He will deal with the dog. We'll deal with the dog. Sorry, my phone back went flat. No problem. Thanks for jumping on. That's the Big Boys Boxing. He's got his own channel for sure. Go check him out. Thank you very much for jumping on. Big Boys Boxing. News to me, still a hell of a lot in the real world. It's a lot. It's a lot. How many houses can kid live in at once? Well, he rents them out, doesn't he? He rents them out. It's investment. You know, you make some money, you invest some money, and if it's a good investment, that money is going to bring you back more in the long run. Long-term investments. And talking about long-term investments, Tszyu is going to see some rewards. He's about to see some rewards for his long-term investment in the boxing. His opponent is crazy, but hey, it's boxing, it's entertainment, it is some crazy shizzle. And what was I looking for? Oh yeah, don't want to go before we look at boxing this weekend. For some reason this site always seems to crash on me. I don't really know why, but it always seems to crash on me. Let me pick another one, the second one down. That's not what I want. Boxing this weekend. Don't know why it crashes on me. Snap, crashed again. It's like someone doesn't want me to know what's going on in the boxing this weekend. It's like they're trying to sabotage.
Rafi, don't forget the Ryan Garcia clip I sent you.
That's a good reminder.
Don't forget that.
That's a good reminder. I just want to see if I can see what's boxing is happening this weekend. But this site is kind of crazy. It always crashes on me as soon as I try to scroll down. There we go. It crashes again. I'm going to have to find an alternative. Boxing this weekend. Schedule. The previous one was the best. It was the best because it told you all the boxing that was going to go down, but this one not as good. Where are we? That's garbage. That's garbage. Hold on. February the 8th, Teofimo Lopez versus Jermaine Ortiz. What about earlier? What about this weekend? What about this weekend? Boxing schedule. See, it's not as good as the other one. February 3rd. Oh, February 3rd. Conor Benn. That's this weekend. Okay, Conor Benn versus Peter Dobson. What else is on? Dan Aziz. Okay, that's the one I didn't want to forget. Dan Aziz versus Joshua Buatsi. That's the one. This site doesn't crash on me. I think I'm going to stick with this one. ESPN. Okay, so we got to do real quickly. Dan Aziz versus Joshua Buatsi. I go with Joshua Buatsi. Is he more experienced? Has he fought at a slightly higher level? I think he's more experienced, and I think he's fought at a slightly higher level than Dan Aziz. So I'm going with Joshua Buatsi. What say you, Iron Kong?
I would have to go with Joshua Buatsi. I've seen more of Joshua Buatsi, and as you said, at a slightly higher level. I would like Dan Aziz to win, though. But I think Joshua Buatsi will win, but I would like Dan Aziz to win. I'll be backing Dan Aziz. I think Joshua Buatsi has squandered his opportunities. I think he's squandered his career, and I don't think he deserves to go any further. I think when he was at Matchroom, he had every opportunity to do big things in a quick time, and he squandered it. I think he's lazy, and I think he's a guy who is, in my opinion, myopic. you know. But I don't like lazy people, and I think he has been lazy in his career. Dan Aziz, I would like to see him move on and get a bigger fight.
Yeah.
And after beating Boatsi,
Mm.
because this is a guy who's a hard scrabble type guy. He really try. He best he come up, and he ain't had no lot of Olympic discs and matchroom people matchroom selling him and all of this. He
Yeah.
had to come up and do it a rough way.
Yeah.
Not saying Boatsi had no easy way, because he had to go to the Olympic whatever make the squad.
Mm.
But I think Boatsi has been extremely poor in his career, and not because of anybody else's fault. It's just him. And I don't think he deserves to move any further. That's my opinion.
Yes. 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 And with that, I think we've spoken about everything that was on the list. We got through it and we did it with the help of Big Boys Boxing and the Iron Kong 26. He's got his own channel. Go check him out. Any final words, the Iron Kong?
So January 28th, I think I said this last year too, was the anniversary of what we call here the Buckley's Uprising. It was the first of the 1930s great uprisings across the British Caribbean. The Buckley's Uprising happened because of multiple issues that forced a lot of frustration for the local black people in the country. That they were not getting paid enough, and when they inquired as to can we get a raise of money, a little extra pay, they were told no, as usual. And as such, they revolted, marched around the island, set fire to cane fields, etc. Ended up with 3 people being shot to death, another 6 being injured. But it was ostensibly a slave uprising, because post-emancipation, African people in these countries still had no rights, really. The people in charge still try to control your travel. They try to control. You had no land, you had no nothing, so you were basically still slaves in a land that in a society that is no longer was supposed to be a slave society. I want to big up those people. If it wasn't for them, people like Lord Moyne would not have come to the Caribbean to investigate why all of these people, all these peasants, are revolting across the Caribbean. And he found that the people living in abject poverty, no education, no health care, no nothing after emancipation. Instead of the British doing something about it and fixing the people's situation, they chose to hide the report at the outset of World War II, so the Nazis wouldn't find the report and use it against them as propaganda. So that's just a quick synopsis of January 28, 1935 in Buckley, St. Kitts. Rafi, you have a great night, my brother, and everybody, peace to y'all.
Excellente, excellente. That was the Iron Kong 26, giving us some historical perspectives on events that must never be forgotten. And with that, I think we've managed to do it all. We've managed to get it in. We've talked about it. Absolutely. 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 We've talked about it. We've got it in. And I've still got time to unwind and get a good night's sleeping. Okay. Excellent. So that's it. It's the Raphael Dawkins, the Combat Radio. It's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares, and it is the hitting the bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. Don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Link in the description box. And with that, all that's left for me to say is blessed.